Classmates select their own valedictorian. And this year is kind of a special honor in that it goes to Gerard Vanden Bogart. Gerard's from Gorey, Ontario, and Gerard is within the Agriculture Diploma graduate, and he plans to continue his studies at the University of Guelph in the Bachelor of Science Agricultural degree program. And Gerard, where are you? Please come to the podium, and we look forward to your comments.
Alrighty, well, let me be honest. Being up here today and giving a speech like this is kind of like delivering a baby. See, it all started as a rumor. Quiet whisperings. Shucks, I wasn't even sure myself yet. And then the word was out that I was to carry this responsibility of the valedictorian speech. Now, although I have no personal experience when it comes to pregnancy, let me assure you that I've experienced the same roller coaster of emotions. There were waves of excitement, anticipation, and joy, and then suddenly the reality of it all would hit. Anxiety, stress, morning sickness. Wait, that's not supposed to be there. Anyway, there was a lot of free advice too, which was good because it sure helped me prepare for this actual delivery today. I think about the only difference in this speech today compared to a real delivery is that there's no one up here to hold my hand through the process. Friends, family, faculty, and honored guests, thank you all for being here. And thank you to my classmates for the honor of speaking on behalf of the 2014 graduating class of the University of Guelph, Ridgetown campus. I am super excited to participate with all of you at this amazing event. Ridgetown campus, what an incredible experience. But why did we come to Ridgetown? I want you to remember back to those first couple of awkward orientation days when all of this was still new to us. We were given several things when we arrived. We were given different rules and outlines for our programs, student survival kit, and we were all given this t-shirt. Now, let's talk about this. This shirt says, "I came to Ridgetown to ... Nothing but blank space." And I kept this shirt because it's plagued me since the day I received it 2 years ago. So why did we come to Ridgetown? Well, we came for a solid education and higher learning. Right. I know we all came to Ridgetown for very different reasons. Yes, for some of us it was purely the opportunity to learn more in the career path we chose. But for some of us, it was a great chance to get away from home, or the chance to have a bit of fun. And for some of us who already knew all there was to know about farming, Ridgetown College was the ideal destination to find a wife. Matthew Helblethwaite. Whether your program was agriculture, horticulture, environmental, vet tech, vet office administration, or performance horse handling, the beauty of Ridgetown campus is that there is the opportunity for all of those things. There's a wise proverb from the Bible that says, "A wise man will hear and increase in learning, and a man of understanding will acquire wise counsel." Ridgetown campus has an excellent portfolio in the department of knowledgeable and wise instructors. Yes, as students, we often complained. However, 2 years of early morning classes and late night cramming sessions were a small price to pay. All of our teachers and instructors have a wealth of encouragement, enthusiasm, and expertise. Thank you all. Because of their patience, we won't forget a thing we learned. Well, okay, maybe there's a few things that are already a distant memory, but at least we'll never forget our teachers and some of their quirks. Skippy, Doug Young, you would start the morning off like clockwork with, "Hello class, it's Monday. If memory serves correctly, last day we talked about cation exchange capacity." Then we were off to plant sciences class where Dr. Dave will be fondly remembered for his personification of little baby plants, which were vividly described single-handedly in his chairman of the board skits during lecture. Phil McEwen taught us a thing or two about genetics and confirmation, definitely. And then there was Dr. Peter Sikkema. This guy blew our minds with amazing chemical formulations like the arloxyphenoxypropionates and the cyclohexanadiones or something like that. I think you get the picture. Finally, good old Al Rastakavicius preached many a lecture with one fist shaking some conspiracy theory from the States and a red Solo cup clenched in the other. There were many others. We handed in reports and exams, did kennels and chores, and we battled with Farm or Business Pro. Yes, we learned a lot. But we also realized that labs and lectures were only the tassels of the cornfield, so to speak. There is so much to be learned beyond the classroom. So, we kept busy with a wide range of activities that prevented us from developing resistance to our classroom monoculture. There were many organized events, such as the intramural sports, OPAC Winter Games, Movember Auction, Spring Expo Weekend, God on Tap, pub and banquets, and then some of us experienced what we might call the not-so-organized events. Timmy's runs in between classes, the odd back road or field tours, many, many trips to the beach, and of course, those various other social activities. Unfortunately, for some of us, there are some nights we may never remember. But for all of us, we made some memories we'll never forget. I want to thank some very important people today. Moms and dads, grandparents and guardians, thank you for the motivation and encouragement and perhaps the odd case of financial assistance along the way. We appreciate all you have invested into our lives by giving us this opportunity to learn. To the cafeteria team, admissions office, library team, maintenance crew, res staff, and everybody who makes this great place tick, thank you for keeping us well fed, paid out, in line, and out of trouble while we were away from home. So, typically at this point in the speech, I'm supposed to leave you with a few words of wisdom. And I know we all had very, very different learning experiences, but I just wanted to share a few of these thoughts. I learned to listen to your friends when they warn you about parking tickets. You see, Res office does actually hand them out regularly. They will prosecute infractions and they do expect you to pay, even the third time. I learned not to fight with sick raccoons on Main Street in Ridgetown. And fellas, I learned that skinny dipping through a hole in the ice in Lake Erie is actually as cold as it sounds. On a more serious note, there were a few common themes that stuck out to me in my 2 years here. And these lessons were taught to me by friends, staff, instructors, motivational speakers, and yes, even Doug Rowley, the chaplain guy. They are lessons in progress, but they will stay with me for life. Now, we all have different beliefs and values, and my values are guided by the Christian faith. I believe that nothing happens in life without a reason, even our time here in Ridgetown. See, we're all part of a much bigger picture. I believe God has a plan for me. And the Bible says in Jeremiah 29, verse 11, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you, not to harm you, plans to give you a hope and a future." What about you? What's your purpose? And what's in your future? I want to leave you with 3 simple take-home messages that apply to everyone, no matter how old you are or where you're at in life. Remember these things. Number 1, are you living with a vision? Are you living with a vision? Yeah, that's cliche, but it's true. Helen Keller was a famous American who lived her life blind from age 2. And she stated the only thing worse than being blind is having sight but no vision. Where do you want to be in 1 year? How about 5 years? How about 30 years? How will you get there? And what is your vision? Number 2, how's your attitude? See, ability is what you're capable of doing. Motivation determines what you do, but attitude determines how well you do it. Chris Ferrero, an Aggie buddy of mine, gave me many counseling sessions in the library while we hashed out homework. And he told me once, it doesn't matter what you're working towards, Gerard, to do it right, you have to want it. You have to want it. And he's right. No matter what people say, attitude is a choice. Number 3, take calculated risks. What do I mean by that? Well, today is a very significant day, and not just because we're graduating, but because 70 years ago, at this very moment, one of the largest invasions in history was taking place. Today is June 6th. Today is D-Day. We remember thousands who died while fighting for our freedom. Thank goodness the Allies didn't avoid the risk just to wait and see what would happen. Take calculated risks. Also, I was blessed to live with John and Eileen Moorman in my 2 years here, and they became my adopted Ridgetown parents. While I can be often very indecisive, they challenged me with this: Gerard, if you keep waiting for your ducks to be lined up in a row, you'll just find more ducks. True story. Well, we all finished what we started. 1, 2, 3 years here at Ridgetown. Another good friend of mine, Mr. Charles Bondi, the hairy man, would say it something like this: we persisted through school like glyphosate-resistant Canada fleabane. And he's right. In other words, we overcame the challenge and we crossed the finish line. From here, we're spreading out into communities throughout Ontario, Canada, and into the world. So now what? Have you got a plan? Don't wait to see what happens. Make it happen. Thank you all for the last 2 years of incredible memories, and let's go make some more. Congratulations to each and every one of you, and God bless the class of 2014.